Welcome to Beyond the Eye, the podcast where we dive into the transformative innovation reshaping the future of ophthalmology. I'm João Marcelo Lira, your host. And today, this episode features two groundbreaking Roger Zaldivar and Josefina Botta.
Thank you so much for having us here.
It's been a pleasure.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Yes. And now we dive in a transformative podcast. It's so great about the innovation, AI trends, and new IOLs.
Thank you so much for having us here. It's such a pleasure to be able to come here and sit with you and just share our thoughts for a couple of minutes. Thank you so much.
Same for me, Joao. It's really a privilege to be able to share this opportunity with the great inventor or co-inventor of this technology that we are all enjoying today. So for us, it's a real pleasure.
Yes, and now we explore hot topics in modern ophthalmology like AI, trends, patient directions, patient outcomes, because I read your research recently paper about PROMs and the patient perspectives. And I'd like to share some discussions about the new classifications in terms of IOL, no?
Very interesting, yeah.
Very interesting points, and the presbyopia, new presbyopia IOLs, because for us, we are crazy with this kind of so much information, AI, and this new world of a lot of different lenses, new classifications. I'd like to discuss at first, Roger, with you tell us about your experience in terms of ICR guru and creator of these AI using in ophthalmology.
Let me do a step backwards because I love how you are positioning this conversation regarding to PROMs and to all the AI revolution that we are all at some point related in these days in medicine and more in ophthalmology. But if we think about AI, it's truly is today definitely what's taking us to the next level. AI is everywhere. We are augmenting our capacities, our cognitive capacities. We are able to process more data at the same time and be able to become more efficient and smarter, which is something crucial. But at the same time, you are mentioning exactly this, you are nailing it perfectly. There is so much information that has to be clarified, organized, standardized in order to be able to train the algorithms the right way and to call every single thing in its correct name. And PROMs is definitely one of those. How are we going to validate the reported outcomes of different lenses or different procedures if we don't have standardized expectations? If we tell one patient that they are going to be spectacle-free and then they use glasses, they are not going to be happy. So nailing the expectations before and at the same time putting all the lenses with the same kind of expectations is something crucial, critical, if we are going to put a lot of weight in those feedback from the patient. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I think it's a whole standardization process that as an industry, we need to validate in order to settle the right way, the expectation for every kind of technology.
I think that it's important to connect this kind of outcomes directly to the R&D team.
Sure.
And make this kind of pathway more quickly and effective. What do you think about this?
Well, even if I may say so, and it's not a rhetorical question, when we ask ourselves, why do we want to know about PROMs? Basically because we're doctors, so our main objective would be to take good care of the people that are under our care. And one very effective way we found was to go direct to them and ask them how they feel, what the outcomes are according to them, not what we see in our offices, or not what the visual acuity tests we run, but what do they actually feel, how they go by their daily lives. And when they report back different stuff, like halos and dysphotopsias and the usage of spectacles or whether they are spectacle free. And we came up with this article last year, and it was very funny. We talked about it. It's like we got together and synchronized our thoughts, but we didn't do that. When we published the article, the main complaint of our patients was about dysphotopsias. And then about a month after the actual publication of our article, you presented Galaxy at ESCRS. And then your lens and your platform goes about less halos. So it was, one of those things, those breakthrough moments where things align. And we were talking about dysphotopsias. You were presenting a product that it offers less dysphotopsias. Yes. And just to go back to my first point, we do care about our patient responses because that's what we're looking for, their better health. But with EI and IT as well, we've got so much technology, and sometimes we need to be re-educated to be able to understand and classify what information is good or bad, and not just data as it is, because data by itself, it doesn't tell us much, but when you organize it, it becomes information. And I think that's why, let's say with the IC Guru, Roger is doing something very interesting because he's trying to improve the results as well. So that's how everything connects.
And Roger, could you tell us to expand our knowledge about the ICL Guru, and the ICL Guru facilitate the decision-making process during the phakic implantations?
Thanks for the introduction, Jose and Joao. For me, it's always exciting to speak about this topic because we are dedicating a lot of time. You know how difficult it is to bring a product to the market and everything. But what we did with ICL Guru is we went through to every single pain point that we struggled in the past. We realized, first of all, that we need to know more information if we were willing to change how we used to do things in sizing, because we were expecting to get a sizing methodology based in external anatomical components, where inside the eye things weren't necessarily exactly the same. It happens that the ICL has been very forgiving all these years, and it's a great platform with a great material, and it has been forgiving. But that doesn't mean that things can't be better or optimized. So what we did is, first of all, we determined that ultrasound was the way to go. We need to use ultrasound. But we have been using ultrasound many, many years, and results weren't better. Reality is that ultrasound is a very technician-dependent technique and procedure. So basically what we did is, with AI, we co-worked with the different companies, starting with Sonomed, that was a great partner here, and we designed internally an alignment technology, and depth, alignment, tilt, everything embedded in the same tool. So it's basically guiding you through the process. Second, is automatically capturing the best images. So what we are doing is we are getting away from a technician-dependent technique to something standardized. I don't like to say this word, but it's idiot-proof. anyone should be able to do a good UVM if you are guided by AI and technology. And that's what we are achieving.
It's sort of leading your hand.
It's leading your hand. You don't have to do anything. It's telling you good. Forward, backward, forward. Kind of what we do when we do a joystick.
So when we were kids and we used to play games.
So what happens here? Long story short, suddenly we started having very standardized images. And with standardized images, we started seeing that there were truly patterns, and we started playing with thousands and thousands and thousands of images, and we were able to develop a very nice algorithm that is predicting in a very nice way, not to the point that you will have 20 microns from the expected, because that's impossible. There are many, many things affecting. But to the point where you are always in a safe range.
In a safe procedure.
In a safe range.
And
you're avoiding big outliers. And I think that's the beauty. The beauty is that now we have a procedure that you can do in a very strong and confident way. And that's the reason why I think it's very positive for the field in general.
Yes, and Josefina, for you, how can you see these kind of trends, the AI and the uses in our practice to facilitate some kind of measures and facilitate the decision-making process, for example, in refractive and cataract surgery?
Yeah, sure. But just to assess what Roger is explaining, let's say ICL, it's such a good technology, and then as surgeons, our main concern was to go overboard with the sizing. And now that he's helping us to better decide what to implant, what sizing speaking, it was wonderful before, now it's even better. So when we talk about optical designs such as yours, we know your platform is being fed backwards and forwards all the time due to our results as surgeons. And in order for you, to speed the process, you need AI. That's the way that I assume it's working, right? And let's say, 20 years ago, this would be not impossible because AI exists for about 70 years right now, but then it wouldn't be as fast as you need for results to improve in a very short time of period to be able, to iterate whether you need to go back and retry and iterate again and, make the whatever adjustment you need to do in order to create this full range lens that it's Galaxy.
Yes. You use, because our research team have been developing some researches using AI over the last 15 years. Sure. At first, to connect the corneal analysis with the AI, Renato Ambrosio, Adam Machado, and I tried to develop the brain corner. The brain corner is a software to facilitate the decision-making process using the topographic and biomechanic settings and analyze the risk to ectasia after the LASIK surgery. And I think, Roger, this intersection, it's a face of the same coin, two faces in the one coin. You understand? Because the ICL guru and brain corner, it's totally connected to bring more accuracy in our practice.
Actually, your lens, the spiral optic lens, Galaxy, which is something that is truly, I think, is the hottest topic in ophthalmology today in terms of lenses, is an exception. Because if I had to bid a couple of years ago, I said AI is going to be the revolution in every single specialty in ophthalmology. It's more on software, not on hardware. It's more on how to do things better, knowing the eye characteristics, the willingness of the patient, the lifestyle, how to do, when to do it, the timing. But you achieve to deliver something hardware, let's say a lens, based on AI, which is very nice, designed by AI, optimized by AI. So it's a nice conjunction where you're using both words.
You're actually applying AI to the design of the lens. So that's
the exception here, but it's nice.
Thank you. And when you put together these AI experience in corneal diseases, and we put together the optical physicists, and after that in 2020, we started to understand the ray tracing and the behavior of the lenses and the different designs, and we add the AI to facilitate this kind of choice.
I know there is always a regulating process, and today is not a minor issue because even Simbisa here in Brazil, Simbisa is the name. Anvisa. And of course, European regulations and US. But I guess that this is just the beginning for you. Of course, in the future, I'm seeing that you might have one or two more models depending on eye characteristics, pupil size, and you can even do one more fine-tuning on these shapes.
That's why ICL Guru try to measure more accurately. You need to understand the data set, Josefina.
But even from a public health point of view, let's say we're talking about Galaxy now. And as you all know, it's a lens that it's placed in your eye after going through cataract surgery. And then more or less, every single human being, more or less, will go through a cataract surgery procedure. And what you're doing is you're giving us a full range of vision lens that it's going to cover, as I said, full range of vision. So it's going to be near, intermediate, and far vision, and distance vision. And then your invention is going to impact lives more than, let's say, corneal surgery, which is reserved to a certain subset of patients. So that's why I think, we are just so glad to know you in person, because I think great things are going to happen if you continue on this path of research and your pipeline. I'm pretty sure it's full of good surprises to come in the future. We can actually see, optical physics combined with AI, but actually applied. So it's applied science for optical purposes. And at the same time, like we said previously, we're looking into problems, and you're bringing a solution to our problems. So that's wonderful.
Only to explain, Roger and Josefina were both of you were the first adopters, the Galaxy in Latin America, because in Brazil, I didn't have any opportunity to explain, to implant this technology. And
we got approved in Argentina by the authorities, and we were early adopters. And when we had a look into the design and decided, to go forward with the research, we're getting great results.
Absolutely, it's definitely a lens that is becoming very, very important in my practice. I started, of course, with a lot of questions because I wasn't sure. This was quite new for me, a spiral optic. I've been related to many optical projects, but never something like this. So, but I was very surprised with the first couple of patients, mostly with their performance at near, because I can expect that there was the promise of having less halos, but but the near is not going to be good enough. But it happens that most of these patients are truly not using glasses. They are becoming spectacle free. And that was my biggest surprise. And perhaps that, combined with the fact that they have an improved and enhanced photic profile in their night driving, in their night performance, is the combination of why, with the correct expectation, because this is still an optical solution that is not making them born again, but with the correct expectations, is driving extremely positive results. Patients are really happy. I'm getting over 96% of satisfaction for the first time in elective procedures, and most of my patients are clear lenses exchanges. They're not cataract procedures. So there are patients that are used to have good contrast sensitivity and time will tell. It's still early. I'm just happy for you, exactly for you, my friends, but I can tell that
it's been only 4 months. But
if I can reproduce this in many patients, it's really a unique solution.
We are really looking forward for those results, because also, Roger, it's not going to say it, but we are surgeons and we actually do operate in our patients. I mean, we're not only researchers, so we can tell firsthand what they are saying, because we are the ones implanting the lenses and then asking patients about their results directly. And when you see their faces and the level of satisfaction they express, it's just they are so grateful. And then, let's say a year ago, if I wanted to implant a trifocal lens, a diffractive trifocal IOL, I had to be very careful about explaining, night driving and the possibility of halos. And now I just don't have to, because I know if they express anything, it would be a very, very soft pink hue they express sometimes, but it goes away in about 7 days. So that's not my concern anymore. So my only concern is that patient actually understands what's going on in his eye, that he's going to go through a procedure, and then that we have decided to implant this full of range lens. And that's about it, really. So yeah, it's wonderful.
I'm so happy with this, and I'd like to share with you the main purpose of the Logos Bioscience and the Galaxy project, to bring light to many.
Well, we spoke about
our purpose to bring light to many, to see the patients and the outcomes and post-operative, the happy patients. It's our dream, and you and Josefina test our hypothesis.
It's very nice, and I know your feeling. Because you have truly embraced a technology that is much more about you and your family and your everything. You have seats all over the world. You are impacting in different patients all over the world. just as an advice, because it's an early experience, but I think, again, setting correct expectations would be
Sure.
super critical here.
Yes, I know.
Super critical. Why? Let me, and I speaking openly, forgetting that I'm here. We are like in a coffee.
Yes.
I'm feeling very comfortable here with Josefina and with
That's
you.
our goal.
Yeah, so I think trifocals have a little bit more near, that's for sure. It's stronger, but the patient independence is very, very similar. So if you test them, they have one more line in near vision, one more line.
Yes.
But in their daily activities, if they are well advised, they will be able to surpass most of their activities without glasses. And once in a while, sometimes if they read too much and for very near, they might need some spectacle. So this message, if you under-promise and over-deliver, they are going to be extremely happy after. So my advice, despite this is a full range, I will still advise my patients that there are some circumstances that for very specific tasks or very demanding activities, you might be able to use some glass. That's a good way, a good practice with this kind of...
You know, that's a general suggestion I would make to any of my
20.
patients implanted with a diffractive trifocal lens anyway, because even in those cases, because we're talking about 0.1 to 0.2 logmar in the near vision.
Exactly.
So we're talking about, you know, it comes, the bottom line is that. But even in a classical diffractive trifocal lens, I would say sometimes do not expect not to use glasses ever again, because they will come with some sort of task they love to do.
Absolutely.
And they'll say, oh, you know, I'm not able to. And then you're going to have to give a +1 anyway. So setting expectations, you know, I think it's part of life.
Absolutely.
in every single field.
Yes.
So you need to be clear, you know, to what you're coming through. And then you always have to, you know, make sure you under-promise and over-deliver. That's a good one. But then, you know, it's in every single order in life. So, yeah, I like I said, it's sometimes you get this 0.1 to 0.2 variation, but then it's also related, in my perspective, to their amount of spherical aberration in their native cornea. And then you probably know more than I do about it. But I think your lens can either subtract or enhance or increase or not in some way the depth of field as well. I'm not talking about EDOF, but I'm just saying the way spherical aberration works in the cornea and in the crystalline lens, and then when you struck the crystalline lens and you place any type of IOL, there's always going to be, you know, an intersection in the air. So I think it has to do more than with the patient's cornea than with the actual IOL design.
And I'm so happy to see my hermanos in Argentina conducting the first implantations in Latin America. For me, it's so grateful to see this kind of environment, building bridges between the Argentina and Brazil and all the Latin America. Josefina,
may I tell you all an anecdote, with your permission? Yes. About a year ago, we were in BRASCRS in Rio de Janeiro last year. And I heard about your project, I heard about you. I didn't know you, but I asked if it was possible to get to meet you. And then you were so kind, you said, yeah, I have, 10 minutes. And I said, yeah, I'll go there, anywhere you are at the Congress. And then you were, nice enough to sit down and to take a few minutes and explain everything that you were trying to launch. So, and we became friends, immediate friends. But you were so generous, and I really want to publicly thank you for it.
Thank you. Let's move on for the second part. Sure. I think you can analyze and discuss some perspectives. I will call to second synchronicity of our podcast, but because the first synchronicity, it's prompts, the results of the prompts, the highlight of the night vision disturbance. And the second, it's discussed about the paper produced by the ESRS committee about the new function classification And I'd like to hear you about this, the importance of these new classifications, and to understand the new presbyopic IOL in this scenario.
Well, you know, anytime you try to come up with a classification in medicine, it's because you've got too many items. You need to group into categories, of course. And it's very helpful because it places us in front of a portfolio of opportunities of being able to choose this or that lens, and then you need to know what you're talking about. So we've known monofocals for many, many years. They work great. Sometimes we do mini monovision, sometimes we don't. And then we came across a second category, which is increased range of focus. And in there, we should place EDOF and monofocal plus lenses. Do you agree?
Yes, absolutely.
Whether they are spherical positive or negative lenses or wavelength type of lenses.
Yes, yes.
And then the third category would be full range of vision. And in there, we could place classical trifocal, diffractive lenses, pentafocal lenses, and then Galaxy. So your lens, in my opinion, it's placed as a full range of vision lens, but it's something new. So that's why I think this upcoming new classification of ESCRS, it will be great to clarify these points.
Yes. And your perspective in terms of this new classification, because it's so difficult for us to understand the EDOF, trifocal, full range of vision, partial range of vision. It's so confusing now.
So many
I
names.
need, you can create some AI to clarify this kind of tools.
I think this is very important, as you said, Josefina, for doctors, but even for patients.
I know.
This has been a nightmare for doctors in the last couple of years to try to categorize or to put in one family one IOL versus the other. And at the end, what we want is to have a simple message. The more options that we have, the less likely we're going to jump in to one technology. Yes. This is something called the paradox of choice, described by Schwartz in US. It's a very famous writer. And this is what has been happening to many colleagues, that they were not used to understanding, or they were kind of confused by all these options. At the end, they finished doing the simplest, the monofocal or whatever. So being able to identify in very clean black and white groups, two main groups, what are you can deliver to the patient, because at the end you are not going to explain the spiral optic technology. No. What you want to explain to your patient is what are you going to be able to deliver in your lifestyle. What are your pain points that we are going to help you solve? That's the most important thing.
What are going to be your pain relievers?
Exactly.
Really?
So with this, it's such a simple message to your patients, where you say, okay, with this lens, we want to make you truly less dependent on glasses, on your daily activities. We really think that you are going to be able to do this, that. You are going to be able to drive at night, and your range is going to be so that's a very simple and the way you should approach your patients.
I think that the results it's more important, and we need to avoid to freedom glasses. It means nothing for the patient.
And may I also say something? Information is so asymmetrical between your patient, a patient and a doctor, because of course there's no way they know as much as you do. So it's very asymmetrical, and you need to come and compromise, make a compromise, and then be able to explain in simple words what you're up to, what they are going to obtain in their daily activities, and how is that going to improve their lives. That's about it. You don't need to go through and explain every single technology, because it takes forever, and then people don't really care about it. They only care to know whether they are going to drive at night safely.
What's the destination? Not the journey, what's the destination?
Yes, the chip.
But we do care about patient journey.
We
do care.
Absolutely.
Yes. You are president of Zaldivar Foundation.
Yeah.
I'd like to discuss about the foundation.
The foundation is something that is perhaps our biggest joy in what we do, because it's truly something that my grandfather started in the early 90s. My grandfather, which happens that I have the pride of having his name, Roger. So he started this as a way to give back, something that is simple, but we are so fortunate as doing what we like and be able to do what we do. And this was like a way to give back to our local community. And we basically have our own institution there, and they train local practitioners how to test better in health, in ophthalmology care. They train school teachers how to detect and diagnose when they have some young kids squinting or getting. So it's like mainly of awareness, but we are also doing more than 1,000 free surgeries.
Procedures per year.
Per year.
Yes.
So cataracts and strabismus and retinal detachment and different things. So it's something that we enjoy a lot. And we have our own teams, our own doctor from the Instituto Zaldivar, that they work a couple of hours per week in the foundation. But it's something that we'll enjoy a lot. Thank you for bringing that.
Yes, and this is our third synchronization, because I am a president of Lyra Foundation in my city.
Wow.
It's my father's legacy. And I would like to know the Josephine in terms of you are now it's a current president of Argentina Society of Cataract and Refractive Surgery. I'd like to know your role in terms of social modifications and the society. I know the importance of society in terms of scientific, but in terms of social.
The thing is, we need to understand that cataract surgery, it's the most performed surgery of them all in medicine. Not only because eyes are bilateral, but also because, like I said previously, more or less everyone's going to go through a cataract surgery at one point of their lives. So when you think in terms of public health, you know it's a public health issue that we need to address. And then the entry level in the health system. Let's say in Argentina, we have a public health system that it's very fractioned, but we have public and private. So people, one way or the other, will be able to access to the system and get their surgeries done. But then sometimes they have to wait for a long time to get this done. I mean, Argentina, we do pretty well in comparison to other places, but we are not unaware of the fact that in some cities, let's say up in the north or up in the mountains, people don't get the access they need to do. So that's when I think foundations and scientific societies and public and practice ventures are essential to be able to deliver and to bring health to our patients. We also need to mention that many times we're fortunate enough to have big companies donating for us to carry on doing this type of activities. So it's really an ecosystem of trying to help and to bridge the gap in between people that can access the system and people that may not be able to access the system, at least as fast as they need to. It's the first cause of preventable blindness. So we as ophthalmologists should really ensure and be sure to be able to help our communities, because there shouldn't be one single person blind by cataract.
Roger and Josefina, could you explain or share some kind of considerations, the final considerations, because it's the end of our podcast?
Well, we're really looking forward to see what's, like I said, what's up next in your pipeline in Logos Bioscience, because I know you are, developing different products. Galaxy, it's what we came to know you for, but I'm pretty sure we're going to get great surprises in the future. So we're really looking forward for it.
Thank you, Joao, for this opportunity. It's been something very nice. And I'm looking forward for future projects, and thank you, because we are enjoying a lot, and for you to know that patients are already benefiting. They are really happy with what they are getting, and I cannot be more aligned with you, third generation, passionate about AI. And I'm sure that we will share our path in the future. Pretty sure.
And be assured that we're going to come and pitch you some ideas at one point or the other.
Yes, it's a pleasure. I think that it's a building bridge between the Argentina, Brazil, and Latin America.
I know.
And
in terms of new research.
That's a great point. And I would like to put this. I'm happy. I'm even more happy about this being done from South America.
Yes.
This is perhaps the biggest pride, because we know that it's always easier to be in a developed country with these new ideas, and the fact that you are bringing a disruption to the whole world. And I know how difficult it has been, the path, when you start knocking doors and say, and you finally were tough enough to get it to the point, to prove concept,
and
to move forward.
Enough, not only tough, but also persistent enough. Yes.
I know something about that. We are doing some things like this. But this is the most important sensation, having done what you have done from South America.
So congratulations on that. Yeah.
It's an opportunity to invite the new researchers. I think that this podcast is in this direction in terms of building new innovation bridges.
Yeah, sure. And also not to be afraid of failing, because when you're innovating, you will fail many, many times until you get it right. But you need to be brave enough to understand that you will fail at a point, but then you keep on trying. So that's something I'd like to deliver as a message as well.
Yes, we tested more than 10 models.
Yes, I know.
In a computational modeling during 2 years until to achieve this kind of balance between the quantity and quality of vision. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all.